Gopijana Vallabha Girivada Dhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivada Dhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivada Dhari Yasodanandana Prajajanaranjana Yasodanandana Prajajanaranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chadi Jamuna Tiravana Chadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hadi Madhava Kunjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hadi Gopijana Vallabha Girivada Dhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivada Dhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivada Dhari Girivada Dhari Jasodanandana Prajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Prajajanaranjana Jamunatiravana Chadi Jamuna Tiravana Chadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hadi Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Hari Vajagacharya Astatara Satasi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Gaura Premanandi. So we're going to Vrindavan. How many here have not been to Vrindavan yet? Ooh. Okay. Soon. The topic that I spoke on yesterday evening was how to Raghunath Das Goswami teaching us how to enter into Krishna's eternal abode, Vrindavan, and associate eternally with Radha and Krishna in their loving pastimes. That was a nice topic. Raghunath Das Goswami. 'Manu Shiksha'. 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 'M And this evening, it's a continuation. This, for those of you that just came, tomorrow evening is part 2, because you see here it's part 1, because it's with the devotees from China, and I've been going through sequentially. I completed with them Krishna's pastimes outside Vrindavan, Mathura, and then Dwarka, and then we circled back around in Krishna and Vrindavan. It's been a nice journey. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So we finished chapter 12, and the chapter 12 is, who knows what chapter 12 is? Chapter 12 of Canto 10 is, what comes just before the calves and the cowherd boys are stolen by Brahma? What comes just before that? Huh? Aghasura. Aghasura? You know Aghasura? He's a nice guy, right? Aghasura was the younger brother of 2 demons that were already previously killed by Krishna. Bakasura and Putana, brother and sister. And, I mean, what a name, Agha. Mom and Dad called him Agha. And it's a nice pastime. It took quite some time. It took 4 parts to cover the Aghasura pastime. But in the end, Krishna's so kind. He was so kind with Putana. He gave her a position in the spiritual world, but she did a little service. And Aghasura didn't do any service. He just came to kill Krishna. But you know what happened? He attained Sarupya Mukti. Can you do that again, please? The description is, when Aghasura died, he died because he suffocated, because many things, nice chapter, many things happened. Krishna entered into the mouth of Aghasura. He closed his mouth with the plan that he would kill Krishna and all the cowherd boys and all the calves that were already inside his body. And Krishna got bigger and bigger. And this Aghasura was really big. You know how many miles long was Aghasura? 8 miles long. 8 miles long. And his jaw on the ground, and his upper jaw was touching the clouds. He had a big body. And Krishna, and he is a python, and pythons make their, when they swallow something, their body can expand, can accommodate a horse and digest it, because they have intense acidity and everything else and everything else. But Krishna made his body so big, Aghasura suffocated. He couldn't breathe. His life air couldn't leave his body. So it popped out of the top of his skull. And his soul went shh, something very similar to Shishupal, hovered in the air. When Krishna left out of the mouth of Aghasura. The soul entered the body of Krishna, but it didn't get Sayuja Mukti. The commentators are explicit. He attained Sarup. He was in a holding place. So it looked like Sarupya. Looked like Sayuja. But he didn't do any service. So the place that he went was Vaikuntha, but not Vrindavan, because he wasn't eligible. Because Vrindavan is such a special place. Acharya's commentary. And when Agastya was dead, it's time for lunch. So that's how chapter 12 ends. Krishna picked a lunch spot. And they sat down by the side of the river Jamuna, nice sandy place, and place for the cows to graze and get the grass. And the boys were having a good time. I mean, the whole morning was playful, so they're still in this super playful mood. Even after entering it, they had become unconscious, as if dead, and just by glancing on them, their consciousness restored. Now they're having lunch. So that's the opening scene for chapter 13. The age of Krishna, 4 years, 4 months. He's not old enough, he's not big enough to herd the cows yet, so he's still with the calves. And here's 2 nice references. I borrowed these from Hari Parshad Prabhu. You may recognize them, you may not recognize them. Gold is tested through fire. Mastery of weapons through a great battle. A wife through hard times. But the mastery of the Bhagavatam is the test for scholarly knowledge. Nice. We'll do it again. Gold is tested through fire. We've heard that one. Mastery of weapons through a great battle. A wife through hard times. But the mastery of the Bhagavatam is the test for scholarly knowledge. There's so many nice eulogies about the Bhagavatam. Tomorrow we'll cover some other ones. Here's another. Lord Shiva said, now I searched for this in a word search place, and it's a special place that many of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples use this verse. And it's a little puzzling, that I'll explain it a little bit, but it's a celebrated, well-known verse. Lord Shiva said, I may know. Shukadev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, may know. And Vyasadeva may know or may not know Srimad Bhagavatam. On the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Purana, can be learned only through devotional service, not by material intelligence, speculative methods, or imaginative commentaries, or imaginary commentaries. Now the question that would, if you read it or listen to carefully, how is it that Vyasadeva may or may not know? But Shukadev Goswami may know. And Lord Shiva may know. But Vyasadeva, he wrote it. How can he not know? And there's lengthy explanation, but the explanation goes like this. Vyasadeva, when he compiled the Bhagavatam, he wanted a proper student to teach it to. And that proper student was his unborn son. So he was really keen on Shukadev Goswami becoming born and being capable of teaching Srimad Bhagavatam, from him as the teacher to his student. But Shukadev Goswami, turns out, was a Rasika Bhakta. It wasn't unschooled or not learned in the whole vast of the Vedas, but his feature, his primary feature was Krishna. It's when Krishna came and promised him, not his father promised him. Krishna came and promised him, you'll be safe. Come on out. He had faith in Krishna. Even in this stage of neutrality, of Brahmavadi, of Brahma Sukha, by Krishna's association. So he may know. And Vyasadeva may or may not know. You know, Vyasa's capacity as the author, naturally you're the author, you would know what you're writing. But the rasa aspect of it is certainly known by Shukadeva, because that's the kind of bhakti he has. That's the explanation that's given by those that comment on this. But it can't be known by speculative knowledge, imaginary commentaries, or material intelligence. So here we go. The first verse of chapter 13. Oh, best of the devotees, most fortunate Parikshit, you have inquired very nicely. For although constantly hearing the pastimes of the Lord, you're perceiving the activities to be newer and newer. So that this statement I'm looking at our driver today. I was sitting in the car and the window wouldn't go down. And he said, I keep the window locked because I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and they sit in the car and I keep the window locked. So when I saw him where he sat down, I knew which were the 3-year-old and the 6-year-old. And now we're hearing them. Because you keep the window locked. So, the first verse of chapter 13 follows a question that comes at the end of chapter 12. Because Shukadeva Goswami is appreciating Maharaj Parikshit. And so once again, it's not like Maharaj Parikshit doesn't know. Learned persons that ask learned questions of learned persons, they already know, but they want to hear that which they already know from the learned person. They want to hear it from the lips of a realized soul. And hearing it, depending upon the quality of your hearing also, it's newer and newer and newer. You are perceiving his activities to be newer and newer because they're Navyovana, they're ever youthful, ever fresh. Nityam Nava Navayam Manaha. Even though advanced devotees hear constantly about the Lord for years, they still feel that these topics are coming to them as if newer and fresher. And he gives the example. This is the painting is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You all know this from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would hear every day, Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit in the assembly, or all these other Vaishnavas, Lord Nityananda and Advaita Acharya and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Haridas Thakur, and they're all hearing the verses of the Bhagavatam again and again from Gadadhar Pandit. Unless one is very advanced in Krishna consciousness, one cannot stick to hearing the pastimes of the Lord constantly. This is Srila Prabhupada's purport. In this very first verse, Shukadeva Goswami, this is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. He's addressed as the best of the devotees. Maharaj Parikshit may ask, how am I the best of devotees? Bhagavata Uttama. Shukadev, you always take the topics of Krishna as fresh. Even if heard before, you hear the topics with relish as if you had not heard them before. That's a qualitative hearing. Because there's always something, even we know the storyline. And in addition to the storyline, there's something else. There's many something elses. There's principles of Dharma, and most important, there's rasa. How many times have you had a gulab jamun? And here's another one. Paramahamsas, devotees who have accepted the essence of life, are attached to Krishna in the core of their hearts, and He is the aim of their lives. This is the next verse, verse 2. It is their nature to talk only of Krishna at every moment. They are attached to such topics, just as materialists are attached to topics of women and sex. Prabhupada's purport. The Hamsa or swan accepts milk from a mixture of milk and water and rejects the water. Similarly, the nature of persons who have taken to spiritual life and Krishna consciousness, understanding Krishna to be the life and soul of everyone, is that they cannot give up Krishna Katha, which is a very nice quality and a very nice gift. On the other hand, Kama, Krodha, and Bhaya are always present in the material world, but in the spiritual or transcendental world, one can use them for Krishna. Here's some examples. Kamam Krishna Karmarapane. The desire of the Paramahamsa, therefore, is to always act for Krishna. Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane. They use anger against those who are against devotional service. Transform Bhaya or fear into fear of being deviated from Krishna consciousness. Jiva Goswami comments, how can topics already heard become newer? The Lord is called Achyuta because He never deviates from rasa at any time, in the least, for any reason at all. Topics concerning Him are the same. Therefore, such topics rightly are as if new at every moment. They are reborn with greater taste than previously. Besides the storyline, the persons that know the storyline, as you're hearing, you know the storyline. So tune into the rasa, specifically the loving exchange that's going on between Krishna and his devotees. And Brahma is one of his devotees, so he's having some playful pastime. O King, kindly hear me with great attention. Although the activities of the Supreme Lord are very confidential, no ordinary man can be able to understand them. I shall speak, hear me with great attention. Although the activities of the Supreme Lord are very confidential, no ordinary man can be able to understand them. For spiritual masters explain to a submissive disciple even subject matters that are very confidential and difficult to understand. So that's an interesting prelude to his response. Next verse. In this way, saving the calves and the boys from Uncas' mouth, which was death itself, the Lord brought them to the river bank and spoke. There's the river bank. My dear friends, just see how this riverbank is extremely beautiful because of its pleasing atmosphere. And just see how the blooming lotuses are attracting bees and birds by their aroma. The humming and chirping of the bees and birds is echoing throughout the beautiful trees in the forest. Also, here the sands are clean and soft. Therefore, this must be considered the best place for our sporting pastimes. So he selected the lunch place. And just going back to the beginning of chapter 12, this was all planned. Because every day before going out to take care of the calves, there was a routine. Mother Yasoda would wake up Krishna. She'd make sure he had his nice bath and then nice garments and nice tilak and nice ornaments and, smotherly, she did the whole thing. And then cook a nice meal, and she'd sit there and watch him enjoy the meal, and it was time to go, and he'd say, Mata, it's time to go. And she'd want to adjust his ornaments and adjust his garland, and he'd take 2 steps, and she'd come running after him to do something else, and the boys are waiting, the calves are waiting, I have to go. So that was the routine. So this particular morning, he made a request, and she said, okay. And that the request was, I want to skip breakfast, and we'll take breakfast out as a picnic. And there was no argument. She just did what he wanted. But it was a plan, so they could have their picnic now. Oh, friends, this place is suitable for us to eat our meal. And then he describes, the place has a wealth of things suitable for playing, fighting, and eating in rows. This is a pushcart painting. You can tell by the colors. He's really a colorful artist. There is soft, clean sand for sitting. The bees hum as if singing for us. There are lotus leaves to use as plates. There is fragrant, clear, cool water. And the shade of trees wards off the hot autumn sun. Jiva Goswami's commentary. Next verse. I think we should take our lunch here, since we are already hungry, because the time is very late. Here the calves may drink water and go slowly here and there and eat the grass. Now that's the explicit Krishna plan. Accepting Lord Krishna's proposal, the cowherd boys allowed the calves to drink water from the river and then tied them to trees where there was green, tender grass. Now somehow they got untethered from the trees. You'll see what happens. Then the boys opened their baskets of food and began eating with Krishna in great transcendental pleasure. Now, notice what they're doing while they're eating. They're just playing. Some are making fun of their activities during the day. Some are eating from the plate of another boy. Some are this and that. They're very playful youngsters, 4 years old. Previous to enter Agha's stomach, they had hung their lunch packets on trees so that they could play comfortably. Now they opened the packets. Or they entered Agha's stomach with their packets. But by the Lord's power, their lunches did not get affected. That's some detail. So that very nice painting, you've seen this celebrated BBT painting. There's Krishna in the center, and rows of cowherd boys. There's many, many, many. There's in chapter 12, it gives the number, asankhya, too many to count. Sankhya and asankhya. Every one of them was trying to look forward toward Krishna, thinking that Krishna might look toward them. In this way, they all enjoyed their lunch in the forest. And there's different styles of painting. Here's another non-ISKCON style painting. But it's a nice painting. One of the features that whoever created this, it's the heart chakra superimposed on the scene. And here's the arrangement. The boys sat in lines on all sides of Krishna. Out of love, they all wanted to face Krishna. And by his sarva sankalpa shakti, it was achieved. How's that possible? His inconceivable potencies makes anything possible. They're all facing him, and they're all thinking, I'm alone and facing Krishna. And all the other devotees, or cowherd boys, are thinking the same. Krishna's face and limbs appeared in all directions at once. From Purusha Sukta. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat, that verse. Each boy thought, I am sitting on the nearest row facing Krishna. Others are sitting at a distance with their backs or sides to Krishna. Sa upasvita, upavista, means that they sat with no spaces between them. Although the cowherd boys, next verse, among the cowherd boys, some placed their lunch on flowers, some on leaves, fruits, or bunches of leaves, some actually in their baskets, some on the bark of trees, and some on rocks. This is what the children imagined to be their plates as they ate their lunch. Now, nice painting. It's lunchtime, and one boy is fanning Krishna with his upper garment. Another boy is stealing something from Krishna's plate. Another boy is laughing as he's stealing from Krishna's plate, and they're just playful boys. After describing the eating pastimes of the Lord along with the boys, Shukadev now describes Krishna's activities in particular. Celebrated verse. It's difficult, the meter is difficult. I don't know if I can do it. We'll just focus on the Yagyabuk Bala Kali. Yagyabuk Bala Kali. He now sat with his flute tucked between his waist and his tight cloth on his right side, and with his horn, bugle, and cow driving stick on his left. They're very specific. Now notice most of the cowherd boys have hair except that one fellow next to Krishna's right shoulder. Do you know who that fellow is next to Krishna's right shoulder? Who knows? Madhu Mangal. Madhu Mangal. Krishna's Brahmin friend, Madhu Mangal. Now he plays not in the Bhagavatam, but in the writings of the Goswamis. He's a very important person. He has a big role to play. And there's many reasons. One of those many reasons is, who is his mother? Who is his mother? Purnamasi. And who's Purnamasi? Yogamaya. And before Krishna came to Braja, she came to Braja to prepare everything for Krishna's pastimes. So Madhu Mangal was slightly older, a little chubby, because he ate a lot of ladus. And there's a lot of nice pastimes with Madhu Mangal doing yagyas, because he knew all the mantras, because his mother is a Brahmani and his father is a Brahmana. So he knew mantras and he knew how to do yagyas, and he liked ladus. And he was a dear friend of Krishna. He was like constantly with him. So there he is in this nice painting. He held in his fingers of his left hand various pickled fruits suitable to eat with yogurt, rice. Coming on their own, the devatas watched. So this particular painting has you pan out, you can look in the sky, you can see the devatas observing the pastime. They're in the clouds, they're up above. And there's the cowherd boys enjoying, the devatas watching, and specifically you see in his left hand, because he would eat with his right hand. So he put the yogurt rice in his left hand with some pickled fruits. And this is the scene that this part 2 is going to begin with. In the midst of eating, he played by accepting food with joking, praising, criticizing, eating, making faces, and laughing with them, all or individually, while examining the food. Now comes this phrase that has multiple meanings. Yagya Buk, Balakeli. Balakeli, the childhood pastimes of Krishna, Balakeli. And Krishna is the Yagyabuk. Yagyabuk, Krishna, who is worshipped by offering him oblations, which he eats simply by acceptance, was now playing like a human child and eating like a young boy in the picnic. So the painting is a yagya, fire yagya, and the brahmanas engage in mantra chanting and pouring ghee and grain and other oblations into the fire. And the fire represents the tongue of Vishnu. So they're feeding the tongue of Vishnu through making these offerings and done in a proper way. So Krishna, is Yagyabuk, or another meaning given by Jiva Goswami. There's a Sandhi rule that makes the word a-yagya-buk. A-yagya-buk means he's playing with other boys. He did not accept the sacrificial offerings made with great effort. Here's a next verse. Oh, Maharaj Pariksit, while the cowherd boys who knew nothing within the core of their hearts but Krishna were thus engaged in eating their lunch in the forest, the calves, this is the beginning of the intrigue, the calves went far away, deep into the forest, being allured by green grass. Now, we heard earlier they were tied to trees. Somehow they got free from being tied to trees. and they became wandering here and there. The boys ate without stopping or while thinking of Krishna. Ate while thinking of Krishna. And it's easy to think of Krishna. Think of many beautiful, I hope you're appreciating the artwork, beautiful paintings of Krishna and his mood of being with the cowherd boys, loving exchange with the cowherd boys. The calves, desiring soft, sweet grass, went further and further away. Or the calves, which were confined to one area of grass, had finished that grass, became greedy for other grass out of hunger, while the boys were absorbed in eating. Now, it's a common practice. I've seen it many times. In the morning hours, the cow herdsman would take the cow with a rope around one neck and a stake on the other end of that rope, and put the stake in the ground, and that determines where they can take their grass for the day within that circumference of that circle. And some cows are shorter, some cows are longer, and more freedom, more grass. Somehow these cows became free from that being tied to the tree. And they started meandering around. Now comes Lord Brahma. The calves developed greed for grass by Brahma's will. Otherwise, they could not leave the Lord. Shukadev Goswami, according to Sanatana Goswami's commentary, Shukadev Goswami cries out in grief because of the great misfortune that would arise amidst the great bliss. So they're blissfully engaged in enjoying lunch together, and very soon is going to be some terrible situation. So he cries out. Seeing the fear of the boys, Krishna, who gives fear to fear, said in affection, "O friends, do not interrupt your eating. I alone will bring back the calves." Now, for those of you that aren't going to be with us tomorrow, I'm going to give you a sneak preview for tomorrow. And then those of you that are, you'll hear it both in Chinese and in English. But the commentators write, at this particular point in time, Krishna knew. And he's going to go searching for the calves as if he doesn't know. But he knows. And what he knows is Brahma's going to come and try to steal the calves. So what does Krishna do? 3 things Krishna does. 1, he has Yogamaya conceal the calves and the cowherd boys, hide them. It's something like, very similar to, but not the same as, when Agni comes and takes Sita. Didn't say where he took Sita, but she was safe and out of sight. And then a Maya Sita was produced. So that's what happened here. Krishna made the arrangement that Yogamaya concealed the cowherd boys and calves, the original ones. And then Maya, or like Maya Sitas, a false version of exact replica of each calf and each cowherd boy, was manifest by Durga or Mahamaya. And that's who Brahma came to steal. Right? So now we have 2 sets. The original and the Maya cowherd boys. But then that's not it. There's a 3rd set. Krishna is going to manifest himself, because it's part of the pastime. He manifests himself as each calf and each cowherd boy in exact likeness. And Brahma doesn't know what's going on. Okay. In the presence of Krishna's friendship, a devotee cannot have any fear. Bhayam dviyam abhiniveshitak. Fear arises because of lack of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada's purport. For one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, this material world of fear becomes hardly dangerous at all. So Krishna is going to say it again. Let me go and search for the calves. Do not disturb your enjoyment. Then, same, in his left hand, carrying his yogurt and rice in his hand, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna immediately went out to search for the calves and his friends. To please his friends, he began searching in all the mountains, mountain caves, bushes, and narrow passages. It's a drama. And the explanation, commentary says, he wanted to have Brahma believe that he was bewildered by Brahma's power. Because that's what Brahma wanted, so he reciprocated as if. Next verse. Oh, Maharaj Parikshit, Brahma, who resides in the higher planetary system in the sky, had observed the activities of the most powerful Krishna in killing and delivering Aghasura, and he was astonished. So this is Aghasura, Krishna entering and then Krishna killing up top. Now, that same Brahma wanted to show some of his own power and see the power of Krishna, who was engaged in his childhood pastime, playing as if with ordinary cowherd boys. So this is, in simple language, this is an offense. We say, conventionally, he made a boo-boo. A no-no. He challenged Krishna, my power against your power. He interfered with Krishna's pastimes. And he stole. Now in baseball, you're out. But Krishna knew what was going to happen. He already had hidden the cowherd boys and produced Maya cowherd boys. Therefore, in Krishna's absence, Brahma took all the boys and calves to another place. Thus, he, Brahma, became entangled, for in the very near future, he would see how powerful Krishna was. That's part 2. Who were the cowherd boys that were stolen by Brahma? Brahma wanted to take Krishna's associates, but instead he took away some other boys and calves. There you see this little cave. Ravana wanted to take away Sita, but that was impossible. Instead, he took away Maya Sita. Prabhupada's purport. Similarly, Brahma took away Mayar Bhakka, boys manifested by Krishna's Maya. Brahma could show some extraordinary opulence to the Mayar Bhakka, but he could not show any extraordinary potency to Krishna's associates. The meaning is, as Krishna's form is Satchitananda Vigraha, the eternal associates of Krishna, likewise, Satchitananda Vigraha. And Brahma has material power, but his material power cannot overshadow Satchitananda Vigraha, whether it's a particle or the whole, the part or the whole. A pure devotee cannot be influenced by any material potency. And the cowherd boys are pure devotees. They're eternal associates of Krishna. You can't touch them with his Maya powers. So according to the thought of Lord Brahma. What you see the painting, he put them in a cave. The verse says he put them to sleep, meaning he has a power, a Maya power that can act as if the cowherd boys were in mystic slumber. Not literally like, when you sleep at night, but mystic slumber, like not in touch with anything external and completely covered by mystic power. We're almost done. By Brahma's power, the light's right in my eye. It's that's by Brahma's power of illusion, the boys were put to sleep. Here's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Pay attention over here on the screen, please, because this is like the punchline. We're going to wind up real soon. The boys were put to sleep, but this was allowed for the production of pastimes. Thus, they were put to sleep by Krishna's Yogamaya potency. Now, Brahma didn't have even his Maya cowherd boys. Brahma didn't have the power. According to these two commentators, Vishwanath and Jiva Goswami, it was the internal potency of Krishna that permitted this to happen. No. Yes. Is that in the left side window, sir? Haribol, pay attention. That's, that side, that's it. But it's not going to do anything because it's translucent. Okay, you can get down because everyone's attention is on you and taken away from the pastime. I'll just do this. Sometimes our acharyas say this, and sometimes acharyas say that, and it sounds like a contradiction. Is it this? And if it's this, then how can it be that? And if it's that, then how can it be this? One answer to that question, a key lens to look through any situation when you get like a contradiction, apparent contradiction, is rasa. He can't leave your hair alone. He's got to. Okay, rasa. Pulling mom's hair. Okay, so our acharyas look at the same thing, this acharya, that acharya, and they may see something quite similar. They may see something quite different. And the lens through which they're looking is rasa. And if this rasa appears like this, it's like a Vaidurya stone. It sometimes appears this, and sometimes it's just one stone. But looking at the same stone through a different angle or different lens, it may look very different. And it doesn't mean if this is right, then that's got to be wrong. Then how can they have these two contradictory things? It's just the lens through which they're looking. And our acharyas that are commenting on these pastimes, particularly Vishwanath, it's Rasika Bhakta all the way. We'll see as we go further. He likes explaining things, not just in terms of the storyline, but in terms of rasa. And he has his own flavor or a taste. And this is what he sees. It was Yogamaya. The other explanation, Sanatana Goswami's explanation, was it was not the real cowherd boy. And Prabhupada's also, not the real cowherd boys. It was Maya cowherd boys that were taken. In any case, thereafter, when Krishna was unable to find the calves, he's omniscient, right? Can't find the calves, can't find the calves, can't find the calves. Oh, where did the calves go? He returned to the bank of the river, but there he was also unable to see the cowherd boys. Wait a minute, they're gone too. Thus he began to search for both the calves and the boys, as if he could not understand what happened. Brahma's observing all this because he went back to the scene of the crime. What's Krishna going to do after all the calves and cowherd boys were gone? Here's Jiva Goswami. In the statement, not seeing the calves, Krishna returned, one should understand that this was an appearance of not seeing them, for he knew where they were. He did this to make Brahma believe that he could bewilder anyone. Then he began looking for the boys and the calves. Excuse me, this is Vishwanath. Acting distressed like an actor, he put on the appearance of looking for them. For the race verse says, Brahma saw Krishna, the actor, in the form of a cowherd boy. So, it's a Leela, and the orchestration of Krishna's Leela happens how? Yogamaya potency. Krishna wants, Yogamaya arranges. So Yogamaya arranged for everything, including Krishna's inability to find the calves and cowherd boys, although he already knew where they were. It's his Yogamaya potency. When Krishna was able to find the calves and their caretakers, meaning the boys, anywhere in the forest, he could suddenly understand that this was the work of Lord Brahma. Again, Vishwanath, though Krishna is omniscient, not seeing the calves in other fields and not seeing the boys on the banks, he began searching. Did Krishna understand the theft at the time of stealing and after the theft, or looking for some time without having to think? At the very time of the theft, Krishna could understand that it was theft and Brahma had done it. And so it's a Leela. I mean, from the time he got up in the morning and asked Mother Yasoda, I want to have lunch to go, please. No breakfast at home. And there was another important detail. Here's another very important detail. Balaram wasn't present. Because if Balaram saw this Agasura thing, he would have KO'd Agasura and would have spoiled the whole Leela. So he wasn't there. And having lunch, it was a perfect setting for the calves and the cowherd boys to be stolen. And then what comes next? The part 2. This is a prelude to what's tomorrow. Krishna is going to manifest when Brahma comes back at the scene of the crime and he sees all the cowherd boys and all the calves. Like, what's going on? He just put them in that cave. So went back and looked in the cave, and they weren't in the cave. They were still asleep in the cave. And then Krishna showed what Krishna showed. It blew Brahma's mind. Because all the cowherd boys became, simultaneously with being a cowherd boy, they became forms of Narayan. And all the calves became forms of Narayan. And all the forms of Narayan had all the energies of Narayan manifesting personified. That's a lot of energies. There's the list of all the energies, and they're all offering prayers. It's a big prayer concert. Brahma's astounded. And then all of a sudden, poof, they all disappeared. And he fell at Krishna's feet and offered very nice prayers. That's chapter 14. But Brahma Vimohan Leela is chapter 13, so we'll hear more about the bewilderment of Brahma. I hope you like Krishna's pastimes. I like Krishna. And hearing them, speaking them, and hearing them again and again, no problem. It's especially through the ear, where the ear is appreciating the exchange of love that Krishna has with the cowherd boys, with Brahma. Brahma's very exalted. At the end of this pastime, at the end of Brahma's prayers, you know what? He doesn't want to be Brahma anymore. He wants to take birth in Vrindavan. Very similar to Uddhava. Let me become just a blade of grass in Vrindavan. Let me not leave Vrindavan. And he makes that appeal to Krishna, and Krishna doesn't say anything. That's the end of chapter 14. He's asking for forgiveness. Krishna doesn't say anything. Forgiveness is okay. But you have to, there's the other half of the universe. You have to rule till the end of the universe, and then your desire. But he doesn't say that. He doesn't say anything. You know, Brahma's been being chastised by the silence. But he's been transformed from a proud to a humble, to I'm the chief personality of the universe. I'd like to take birth as a blade of grass in Vrindavan and mean it. Because he has such appreciation for that his prayers are filled with his appreciation for how fortunate. As Shukadev Goswami in the earlier section, chapter 12, Krita Punya Punja, how elevated are these cowherd boys? So the whole if you hear these narrations with the ear of appreciating the loving exchange, the rasa between Krishna and his eternal devotees, and his special devotees like Brahma, etc., then you can hear it again and again. And you never get tired. It's like hearing it ever fresh. Because that's Krishna's nature. Okay. Let's see if there's some discussion. He's fishing for the microphone. Go ahead, you can speak, and I'll just listen.
When you were sharing that Agasur got the Sarupya Mukti, that he goes to the planet, Vaikuntha planets. We also hear that those who meditate on the impersonal Brahman, they merge into the impersonal. So is that they get such a high position? And we also hear that when they merge into the impersonal Brahman, they do not have that personal relationship should they come back. So does that hold the same for Agasur, because there's no personal relationship?
Your question, the punchline of your question was kind of mumbled. Your punchline of your question is, did Agasura go to Vaikuntha and stay there? That's your question. Of course, you don't fall for Vaikuntha.
But in Vaikuntha, you have to be either in the Shantaras or Dasyaras, and he was not in one of those rasas. So
What's your opinion?
I want to understand.
So be careful. Don't assert your opinion if you don't know. Now, what's the eternal rasa of Aghasura? He's a demon. So what's the rasa involved between a demon and the Lord of Vaikuntha? That's a nice question, but don't assume it's not this and it's not that, it's not that. He attained the position, means there has to be some position. That whatever that is that he attained, doesn't say which rasa, it just says he attained sarupya, a form like the Lord's. So to attain that, some form of rasa in Vaikuntha, there's those four.
Can I ask an extended question? So last time when Dinabandhu Prabhu was here, I asked a similar question for Putana, and he mentioned that when Putana goes back, she gets the position of a mother, but she's not actively engaged or she's not directly connected to the Lord. So that's where this arouse.
Well, the Ras, whatever the particular service is, she gets some service. Otherwise, she wouldn't get. So exactly what her activity was or is, Putana, Dinabandhu doesn't pull things out of the air. There must be some commentary that says what he said. But the rasa, she attained the position of mother, whatever that position is. And varieties and scads of varieties of mothers in the spiritual world. So that's an explanation of your commentary, or the source of your question, Dinabandhu's response to your question about Putana. I'm unaware of what the service was and the rasa was. The only thing I'm aware is what our acharyas say, he attained Sarupya Mukti. And to attain Sarupya Mukti means there's some rasa and some service. What rasa, what service, I don't know. Form, yes. Careful.
Another question.
Go ahead.
So when you mentioned that...
I like your courage, it's good.
When you mentioned that everything we see in the form of a rasa, in the form of a pastime. Just recently I was thinking about Sanatan Goswami, where we see his interaction with Madan Mohanji is in a form of rasa. And then the same thing, when it comes to Mahaprabhu, he's in awe and reverence. So I'm trying to comprehend and understand the same personality, his dealing with Mahaprabhu and his dealing with the deity as Madan Mohan. I want to understand if you can share and shed some.
I'm not sure what your question is, but I think I understand what your question is. I'm going to give an answer, and if I haven't responded to your questions because I didn't understand your question. My answer is, rasa is like waves in a river. In a river, sometimes it's very calm. Sometimes it's wavy. Sometimes it's tempestuous. And the river keeps flowing and flowing and flowing. And sometimes the water's up, sometimes the water's down, sometimes. The rasa is quite fluid. It's like honey. Honey doesn't flow like a river, but rasa flows like a river of honey. Very sweet, and it keeps flowing. It's not stagnant, it just keeps moving. So today and tomorrow and 5 minutes from now is something else and something else. quite fluid. No problem. Same object, different moods at different times. Okay. She's digesting. Her eyes rolled back. You didn't see that gesture.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for such an insightful class. First time I came to know that when this pastime had happened, Krishna was 4 years old. Thank
Really?
You. Yes, Maharaj. I was not knowing the age. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Maharaj, when we talk about Vrindavana pastimes, it is always about rasa, madhurya, vatsalya. And actually, I wanted to know about what is rasabhas.
Speak slowly. You want to know about
Rasabhas.
Sabha,
Rasabhas.
Rasabhas. That's what you want to know about.
Yes, Maharaj.
Well, pickles and ice cream. Some rasa, one of the definitions is taste or mellow. And so, but or juice is some juices are fine mixed and some are not so fine.